Welcome to the Second Season Podcast, a podcast for athletes, entrepreneurs, and families chasing legacy. I'm Mason.
And I'm Danny.
And today we got my guy, Jesse Cronen, here on the podcast with us. For those of you guys who don't know Jesse, Jesse is the man, my business partner, my boss at the bank, somebody who I look up to so much. Doesn't have a huge social media presence, even though he has one lately, talking on different podcasts and forums, but an industry presence, a leadership presence, a human being presence. This dude is next level. I am so excited about today.
I'm super excited.
Well, appreciate you guys having me on, boys. I'm excited too.
Bro, thank you.
Good to have you here.
Thank you. All the way from Kentucky here. This was so important to us, man.
Rode a horse. Two horses.
You got a podcast now too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Funding Fathers, boys. Yeah.
Funding Fathers.
You know, you said I don't have a social media presence. I've got like 3,000 followers. You know,
I didn't mean it like that. I said not like in the long term of things. You're pretty new to social.
It's in the infancy.
Yeah, but it's like your business presence, right?
Yeah, very little. Yeah, but you know, I took your lead. I mean, literally, you said it at the summit the first year we did it.
Mm-hmm.
I was the guy that would go spend money on print marketing. I'd go do a radio ad, and you said it best. You're like, I did this post, it hit 900 people or it hit 3,000 people. And what would you pay for that? And I'm like, I know what I would have paid.
Right.
So literally like, I track it now and like I hover between 100 and 200,000 impressions a month, which is not bad.
That's great.
For free.
That's great. Yeah,
for
sure.
Right?
For free.
And dude, when me and you first met, what I told you is like, more people need to know about you and the people that you help.
Yeah.
Like this do good mission that you're on, how me and you first met in the first place, like more people need to know. So I wanted him on social, like, bro, I want people to know about you. I want people to know this amazing journey that you're on.
So when did you guys meet each other? Was this 3-4 years ago?
December, January. It was January of 20. I got the text. I'm deleted. It was December. It was January of 23. It's 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, more than 2 years.
Dude, that's like almost when we met.
Yeah, 4 years. It was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
and the story is insane. And we weren't even planning on opening up with the story, but you got to know this story.
All right, let's hear the story. I was curious.
Yes, I, doing well in my career, wasn't thinking about really making a move, started getting recruited by a guy who doesn't work with us anymore.
Okay.
And it was just a casual, relationship that we had. And he's like, bro, you remind me of this dude, Jesse Cronen. Have you heard of Jesse Cronen? And I'm like, I don't know who Jesse Cronen is, right?
Big time.
So
look up on social media. No.
Bro, I'm like, couldn't find him out there. I swear. I couldn't find him. I'm like, bro. So I called Jesse and and this dude's busy. Like, busiest dude you and I know. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyways, I called Jesse and we get to talking and everything that we talked about in our families and our kids playing sports and like our why and everything we meshed on. I said to him, bro, I need to know that you're real. I'm going to call my brother and we're going to drive through the night. And if I come there tomorrow morning,
will you be there?
Will you meet me at the office and give me an hour? And he's like,
Monster energy drink, gold chains. And I'm like, yo, let's rap, right?
Let's go.
We hung out all day.
It was 3 hours. And I remember he looked at his phone and he had it was 52 missed calls. And the dudes behind me who are now our brothers, who we didn't know before, they're like, I don't know who you boys are. I've never seen him talk to somebody for 2 hours in over 10 years.
That's crazy.
And that's how we met,
That's how you guys met.
And it's insane. And that's how we met Tyler Jenkins that day. Because the day that we were leaving after meeting Jesse, and I look at Zach and I say, this is our boy for the rest of our life. On the way out, he's like, hey, does somebody want to take these boys to get some lunch on the way out? And Jenkins is like, I'll take him.
Yeah.
And that's how we met Jenkins.
Bro, Jenkins.
Now he's one of our best friends.
Shout out Ty.
Cut from the same cloth. Oh yeah.
It's
Ty the
insane.
mortgage guy. He's in Jamaica, by the way.
Yeah. I was busting his chops yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, did you go to the gym today? Because he was posting stuff in the morning.
Yeah, he did push-ups on the balcony, but he literally, hey, no doubt, 3 to 4 calls a day because his brain, just like ours, it doesn't stop. He's on vacation. I'm like, enjoy.
100%.
Like, slow down.
Yeah.
But he's jamming all those deals just like you are.
Yeah.
So
and
it's a blessing, man.
Yeah.
It is.
And for people who don't know Tyler Jenkins, Tyler's going to hear this, but Tyler is on Jesse's team. Jesse has helped raise him. He was a beast when he came to us, but helped raise him in this industry. And he's the number 2 producer in our entire bank nationwide.
Yeah.
I think 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
When it comes to units. So, somebody who's learned a lot from this dude, like we all have on the team.
Which and much like yourself, you know, he's just getting started. So, I mean, it's wild because the trajectories, you know, it's going to be crazy.
Well, dude, we got some powerful stuff we're going to talk about today. And as I was talking to Danny about this, the craziest thing is that when you look at what has been accomplished, especially by you throughout your run that we're going to get to learn from you on today, I still feel like you're just getting started too. It's like this new energy and like, it's like the 15-year pros who are all-stars, but now like are like have their 20-year knees again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but there's something in the air. And bro,
I'm telling you, I listen, and we'll get into everything, but I'm telling you, a lot of what energizes me on a daily basis is the energy around the Tyler Jenkins, the Mason Mowers, the Chad Paris's, the Boom, you know, like if it weren't for that, dude, I mean, I wouldn't have the energy I have on a daily basis, but y'all, shit, I got to keep my 20-year knees because you guys passed me by, you know, so,
that's awesome.
But no, I appreciate y'all having me on. I'm excited about this.
We're excited too.
All right, let's go.
All right, first question I've got. Obviously, you've built an extremely successful business, been in the business a long time. What have you learned about building a life you actually enjoy? Yeah. Not just one that looks good on paper.
Yeah, so it wasn't always that way. I mean, I can tell you when I got divorced, you know, had a kid young, I was 25. I literally had been in the mortgage business like 6 months. Meet a girl at a bar. We don't get pregnant at the bar, but pretty close thereafter, right?
Yeah.
And shout out to Caroline Cronen, 19 years later, you know, my oldest, but
beast college athlete.
We literally, for sure. We literally 6 months into my career, like I'm this young cat, 25 years old with a kid, and it didn't look like it looked like today. I mean, I can tell you, I worked all the time, answered the phone, just like, you know, our phone rings, we feel like we got to answer all the time. Flash forward, you know, I end up with, you know, kid number 2, which is Layla. She's 10 with my wife now, Shelly. And I remember like it was yesterday, we had Caroline every other Wednesday and every other weekend because that was the men's 50-50 custody in Kentucky back then. And, you know, I could leave at 3 o'clock on Wednesdays to go get her from school. But then like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, like I was at work till like 7 o'clock. Yeah. And it was just normal. And Shelly Cronen's like, you're not, it's not okay that you can leave for this one the one day we can not be around for the other one. So my dad was always a real active, involved father. I just didn't know anything other than working, right? And so flash forward, Mason knows this, you know this about me, like, why do I go to work at 4 o'clock in the morning? It's not because I like working in the dark. It's because I'm able to be a very active, involved parent. It was one of the first things we talked about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing more important than those little rugrats running upstairs or mine in you know, Kentucky. And so back to what life looks like on paper is, you know, if we are present for our kiddos and our spouses and we're real good people, the rest of this, the hard work, obviously, like we don't just wake up and loan show up, right? We got to grind. Yeah. But I mean, one of the best things I ever did, and I give Shelly credit because I was like, there's no way I can leave at 5 o'clock. But changing my schedule to where I'm literally, I work when they're sleeping. I mean, I knew I was coming here today, so I got to work at 3:45, hammered out for 2 hours, got home. I didn't get to see them because they didn't have school today. Long story short, like being that active, involved parent to me is as important about, you know, what we do on a daily basis as anything. Cause they learn from us, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So, I would say I almost fall into a trap of like, the beauty of our business is it's a lifestyle business, right? Like you can work around the clock. Yep. And so it's like being a young cat, you just talked about, it's like, I feel like your mind is constantly racing and it's like trying to figure out how can you compartmentalize. And I'm getting married here in June. So it's like, so it'll be it's a new chapter for me that I'm figuring out on the fly. Yeah. So it's cool. It's cool that.
And here's the thing though, obviously you guys, does your fiance work?
Yeah, she works with me. Yeah.
So
it's our business.
Oh, it's your business. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she quit her job. So she actually quit her job last October.
Where have I been?
Yeah. Then she joined him.
I didn't know that. Yeah. That's fire. So here's the point though. My point is, so she gets the business. Yeah. She's in the business. Now, obviously there's going to come a time where that little kid doesn't get the business. They don't understand. So you have to put the phone down. Now, does that mean that you just ignore your business? No. but you compartmentalize it. So that way, when that kid is, you know, when you're with them, you're with them.
Yeah.
And like I said, I can't say that I was always like that. So,
right.
Do you think it almost forced you to delegate things quicker, that your wife was like, look, like you need to be home by X amount of time to spend time with the kids?
Well, it wasn't
Like-
so much delegating as it was, because I learned to delegate. My first assistant I hired in 2009, and I did not delegate well. But it wasn't about delegating because I started doing that.
Yeah.
The more you delegate, if you do it right, the more you delegate, the more you scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, the only thing that changed my life as far as being like an involved, like more involved father and husband was literally turning my schedule on its head, because I still, like, I can't get my job done in 8 hours.
Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, Mace, like
Yep.
with what you're closing, like you can't get that done in 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's either go home and be dad and work until midnight. And some people like their night owls. Like you're more of a night owl guy.
No, Z is. I'm a morning.
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm
Z,
a morning. Yeah, Z, we're opposite. So Z can stay up.
dude, I
Yeah,
can't.
Zeal text me at 11.
I gave up.
Like-
Wait, when I restarted my mortgage career with you, part of my boundary was because it's unhealthy, because what we're talking about, because I would then stay up and then I would look, bro, to be 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was up the entire night. And I'd be like, whoa,
You can't do it.
why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But the problem is when you're wired like that.
Yeah.
So I cut it off at night. I grind in the morning still.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
And the thing about that is time's frozen. They're sleeping, wife's sleeping,
That's,
no texts, no phone calls. So what do I do between 4 and 6:30 in the morning? Dude, I get all my busy work done. So then when I'm at the office, I'm able to do what's really the most important thing about our business, which is new business.
Yeah. What time do you go to bed?
So you said that about Z texting at 11. By that point, I've already been sleeping for probably 2 hours.
Oh, me
Yeah.
too.
Okay. I was gonna say I'm early and I'm
To
like,
bed?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock rolls around. I'm like trying to go to bed, and Sarah's like, "No, we gotta stay up."
Yeah.
I was laughing.
I'm like, "Nah, I'm out."
I was laughing 2 days ago because my kiddos went to bed. They usually go to bed between 8 and 8:30. And 2 nights ago, they went to bed. It was like 8:55 or something. And I was joking with some people at the office. I was like, I finally got downstairs. It's 8:55. I turn on some Netflix show and I didn't see 9 o'clock. My eyes, like, I turned it on and it was like 9, you know. But honestly, like, it works. You know,
Yeah.
my kids are asleep. Like, Shelly's more of a night owl, but she's crafting. Dude, she just built this tree in one of my kids' rooms. Like, I wish I had a picture to put on the podcast. Like, when I say a tree, like 8-foot leaves, like, because my kid wanted a tree in a room. Like, anyway, that's Shelly Cronen. But
That's
yeah,
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot of stuff from Jesse, like business stuff, tactics, strategy. But one thing that I've adopted from you that truly has changed my life is flipping my schedule on its head and being up early, because that's still time. Like, that
Frozen.
is such productive time. And what's really cool about this for you, as you talk about you and Sarah getting married, like, this is like 3 different generations, but all on the same journey, where like Jesse, it wasn't always like this for Jesse with his marriage, right? Or with his life, with his stuff of what their balance looked like compared to what your life looks like outside of just work, right?
Yeah.
Same with me, right? But what you do and what you learn throughout the journey is mentorship. People who are in the season ahead of you that you learn from. And so you think about this dude in his mid-20s.
I wish somebody told me at 25.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Everything, like, you are so favored to have a beautiful life with Sarah. And it's not by happenstance. It's because of you being interested in this life and getting connected with really good people and learning from them, bro.
I'll say the other thing too, like, so my Uncle Jeff and my Aunt Mel, who they kind of same story. He grew up in a trailer, didn't have much, builds custom houses now, has an unbelievable business, but him and Aunt Mel, they work together in the same business. And so it's like, now that Sarah and I are getting into this, we're finding that we need to put time aside for personal and business, because business bleeds into the personal side a lot.
Yep.
So it's like a conscious thought that, like, we're constantly working on.
Yeah.
So it was good to, like, lean on them for that.
Were you born in 99 or 2000?
99.
So
That's
Jenkins,
crazy.
99, baby.
Jenkins,
That's crazy.
Jenkins wears his 95 because that's my point. He's born in 95. And I tell him all the time, I'm like, bro,
Young.
if somebody could have told me at your age, and I sound like the old curmudgeon, I'm 45, but I wish that, and again, like, I was a present father with Caroline.
100%.
But I wish that I was the dad that I am now. I just wish I knew what I know now back then. So having a cat like this over your shoulder,
for sure.
You know, you can call me anytime, obviously. But I appreciate that. You got Mace right here, so
unfortunate.
You got the dog.
But it's the perspective. Like, you were there 100%. Like, even for me throughout the learning lessons, it's the grace you give yourself, not anything else. You get past it all. Like when you look back on something and you learn from it, you give yourself grace on the different stuff. And then you're like, man, it really allows you to cherish and build around what your why is, like is what we talk about it. And that's for you. It works because then you can wake up, you can crush in the morning. I mean, like every time I'm getting on Facebook with you walking the girls to school, like, bro, like that's what it's about. And so like, obviously there's the family side, which is a huge theme and topic we talk about with everybody we've ever had on this podcast, because they're successful and they're really good family people. And those are the people that we align our life with. Right. And for those of you guys that don't know, Jesse was a killer athlete, like a really, really good athlete, a winner his entire life. He's not going to talk about himself well, like he won't about business anyway. You can Google him about business so that way you know, because he won't tell you that either. But I will tell you that, like, a really good athlete, a winner his entire life. A lot of you guys who have, done well in athletes or understand what it's like to be a winner. When you take something on, you're like, bro, I'm going to win no matter what. I'm going to grind so hard. I'm going to get through this. But when you look back on the last 20 years, and Jesse's done some crazy stuff, guys, crazy stuff in the business world. But when you look back on it, there's a lot of stuff, because I know you really well, that you like approached on this journey that you're like, I'm going to kick this ass, or I'm a winner, I'm coming through here. But like looking back, and this is a deep, hard question. What was harder than you thought it was going to be on this journey? Like there's some hard stuff about building, right? Like there's some hard stuff about the disciplines for you, even though you were a winner, even though you were that dude, had this juice, the confidence, not, like you have the confidence in yourself to go crush. When you look back, like what was harder than what the young Jesse would have thought was going to be? That's a tough question, I know.
It is. What was, I don't know, there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Probably one of the lowest, like absolute hardest, like professional. We were leaving. I don't know if I ever told you this, but we were the third ever cross country mortgage branch ever.
Yep.
And we were leaving cross country to go to a local bank in Kentucky. And my new boss. So I'm on the phone with, conference call, broker in this deal, how I'm leaving, and I'm not going to get, I don't know if I can cuss, but I'm not going to get screwed.
You
right?
can get cut. Yeah.
I was getting ready to get fucked. Yeah. So I've got Ron Linhart, the owner of Cross Country Mortgage, on the phone. And I've got the president of the bank that I'm going to. And I'm trying to explain like how we're going to transfer case numbers and everything. And my new boss, who I'm literally on day 0 with, says to me, "Shut up, Jesse, and sit in the little corner like the little boy you are." And I don't have the amount of employees that we have today at the branch, but I've got, at that point we probably had 18 or 20 employees. This is my new boss. And I'm literally looking out my window at our old office, and I'm like, my stomach drops, and I'm like, what did I just do to all these people? Like, we're going to work with this. So looking back, like the hardest thing I ever did was understanding that I went into a situation that we stayed there for about a year, but very quickly it was like, okay, how do we hold this together with this cat that I can't work with? Because, you think about the people we work with, Chuck Williams, Amy Butlers. Gosh, yeah. You think about the people that we're surrounded with that are just good people, right? And I literally have had some unreal bosses in my life. One of my all-time favorite bosses was my first boss at Commonwealth Bank, which was subsequently, after this conversation. I'll run through a wall. Like my favorite coaches, like literally, like I'll run through a wall. It's not why do I jump so high? It's how high, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And so you literally on that phone call where you've got your old boss and your new boss, and your old boss has more grace. And I'm like, fuck. So long story short, the hardest, I didn't know I was getting into that. Probably the hardest, like that I put myself into outside of that was, we left I don't know if I've ever told you this. I think I've told you this. So we go to open up our first company. We're leaving my first brokerage. we're opening up our first company, and we get sued for non-compete. Me, Bo, Austin, who does my disclosures, and a couple other guys that aren't with us anymore. And literally they sue us. We get served with papers. They sue us for non-compete. I'm 25 with a 9-month-old. And literally Bo has like $4,000 to his name. I'm paying Bo. I mean, we're literally Bo learned more versions of ramen noodles, egg drop soup. Like he's like literally. So they give us 3 months. They give us 3 months to pay $151,000, or we're out of the business, right? So hardest thing that ever happens to me. We save up all the money, and we call them. Our corporate office knew what was going on. We were like a franchise in the mortgage business. It was like a Subway, but for mortgages, called Allied Home Mortgage out of Texas, right? We use them for like, it's kind of like the branch world now, but back then it was early on like branching. Right. So I call them on a Monday, and I'm like, they know what's going on with the lawsuit. I'm like, we need the money next Tuesday to pay our lawsuit. We got it in there. How do you want to go about wiring it? And they're like, we'll just send in your paycheck on Friday. And I'm like, if you send me $151,000 on my paycheck, like I'm going to net like 100. Like I'm fucked. Yeah. So I call my old man, and that night, Jesse Cronen's laying on my chest. The Yankees are on TV. My old man, I call him, and I'm like, he was our biggest fan. I'm like, Dad, we're done. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, they're gonna W-2 me. I'm gonna be $50,000 short. And he says, just pray on it. I'm like, Dad, just pray on it. He's like, just pray on it, Jess. Whatever's supposed to happen will happen. He picks up his bike the next day from my house. He'd watched Caroline. He picks up his bike and literally gets hit and killed riding his bicycle coming across the 2nd Street Bridge. So the last time I've talked to him, he says, just pray on it.
Oh, jeez.
We bury him on Saturday. Funeral, clean out his office, funeral Friday, bury him on Saturday. I go into work Monday because that's all I know how to do, right? And I get a call from our CFO and our chief legal counsel, and he says, we figured out a way to pay your lawsuit. It's due tomorrow, literally. Like it's due 48 hours later. And they said, we're gonna 1099 your LLC that we sublease your office from. And they said, can you figure out taxes next year? That gives you like 9 months to figure out taxes. I'm like, yeah, we'll figure it out.
9 months is a long time.
We will figure it out. And that was it. And my old man was up, in heaven, pulling the puppeteer strings, man. Cause like there's no other way that they just magically in a 5-day window were like, fuck it. So you asked that question that was really long-winded.
Bro, that was a long-winded question. I did not know that, and
Mace knows that about me. That story about the lawsuit is a much longer. Like you talk about, we could write a movie about that period, and then obviously my dad dying. But my dad was my business. Like I used to go, it'd be like the boys, right, or my girls. I used to go to work with my dad and follow him on sales calls. Yeah. And so when I told him I was going out to open my own business up at 25 with a newborn, he was like, "Yes, now's when you do it." And, obviously like seeing where I've gone, he didn't believe in the word pride. Like he didn't believe in the word pride because he's something about the church. I don't really understand, but I know he'd be proud of me. You know what I mean? I know he'd be proud of what we've accomplished at this point. So, bro, I think you saw this on Facebook. So last year it was a special number. So I was 42nd ranked loan officer in the country last year, which tied into my grade school football number, which he ultimately gave me because it was a long story. USC, Ricky Bell, this running back who died of bone marrow cancer. It was like a made-for-TV movie that I saw as a kid. So like there's so many things in my life that tie back to my old man. But after his passing, all the bike lanes in the city of Louisville, all the share the roads with the bikes was all put into place. So if one person lived from his passing, but back to business, like I learned everything I know from my old man. So anyway, I didn't mean to get on a tangent.
No,
this is upbeat.
No, dude, I'm literally covered in chills because.
But yeah. So and this year I just got it 35. Do you see that?
You were 35 this year?
35.
That's
in the country?
In the country, yeah.
I didn't see. I knew you were top 50, but so 35. For people that don't realize,
what's the volume of that?
That's the top 1% of the 1%, of what we do.
203 million. Yeah.
That's slinging some loans.
Yeah. And I don't mean to throw shade on anybody, but there are a lot of people, Mace knows how this goes. There's a lot of people in the top 34 that stack there. It'd be like if Mace and your all's branch had yours and Ed's and
Everyone's a
staff.
name. Exactly. It's a different story. Jesse actually
that's you though. That's you.
That's
loans.
me. And so we talked about this. Jenkins and Chad and I were talking about this on a podcast last week when it first came out. If we stacked the office, we were like number 3. But I don't want to do that. I want people to be their own, just
Amen.
it's like
it's amazing.
With Jenkins doing what he's doing, with Chad doing, with what you're doing, like everybody wins. You know what I mean? So anyway.
All right. Well, this is actually a perfect lead into my second question that I have here. In your business, what separates a $1 million earner, which is pretty insane, to a multi-million-dollar owner when it comes to scaling a business?
So I think one of the big things about scaling is you have to be able to delegate and you have to let people fail. So when I hired my first assistant, which was Bo.
That's crazy.
Dude, funny story. Right?
This dude Bo would do anything for Jesse.
Did I meet him when I was down there last year?
Yeah, you did. And he's going, you coming this year?
Yeah.
He's going this year.
Okay,
He'll be wearing a cowboy
We'll
hat.
be at the Derby here next
we'll
week.
meet Sarah this year too.
Yeah, that's awesome. No joke. Okay, my wife's going too. So it's going to be we're bringing all the women.
Dude, I'm so excited. I cannot wait.
It'll be fun. You're going to have a good time. So delegating and being able to trust it. So Bo, flashback, first assistant. Dude, I swear, I remember this like it was yesterday. He was my first processor, right? This is before there were assistants.
Yep.
But I was like, if I have Bo do some of that paperwork processing, I can go get double the loans or triple the loans.
Yep.
So I had a loan that I'm like, God, why is this loan on day 45? The customer's blowing me up. I'm like, why is this not closed? I'm like, Bo, where's the XYZ file? He's like, oh, I submitted it to Citi back when there were like multiple lenders that used to. Yeah, I submitted it to Citi like 3 weeks ago. He's like, I'll check with that AE. I'm like, Bo, I just called over there. They don't have the loan. He's like, I promise. I'm like, send me the email. Well, he goes as far as like doctoring me an email, like with dates and addresses and email addresses and everything. And I finally figured it out. I'm like, Bo, you never submit a loan. It's fine. We're human, right? Like I probably said it a little more colorfully, right? But my point is learning to let people make mistakes and fail. Because I'm not perfect. I promise you that.
None of us are, yeah.
But once they're able to learn and grow, then you stack the second one and you stack the next one. And the next thing you know, like I've got, you say, is that me? No, I've got a team behind me that closes. Now I'm the only one bringing loans in, but I've got 2 full-time loan officer assistants. I've got 2 to 3 processors. I've got an upfront admin. I've got this and that and the other. And so the more that you can trust them and let them make mistakes.
Yeah.
The more that you'll scale.
Yeah.
And
so
like
good.
last year was 630 loans that I closed. And I couldn't do it without them. Now, again, is it always happy? No. What's that? What's Bob Ross say? Happy mistakes or whatever. I don't know. Messy mistakes or whatever. Like it's a messy process.
Yeah.
I mean, if I told you that every loan was perfect, I'd be lying.
You'd be lying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like you have to.
Dude, that's slinging some loans.
If you're going to be perfect, you're not going to scale.
100%.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Dude,
it's great for me. I mean, that's great advice. I just hired my first full-time project manager.
Nice.
Started Monday. I'm hiring my first full-time acquisition manager on May 1st, which will be big.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's a big step up.
And you have to hire, in anticipation. Like if you're proactive about it, like you're never going to be ready.
I've learned like I love networking and finding. I'm a deal guy. Like I'm a deal hunter. That's what I love to do. And like managing a project, it's not. I don't love doing it.
Yeah,
I don't love doing it. I want to go find more opportunities.
Well, that's what you're good at.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Same with you, Mace. Like if we're not out making relationships and finding new deals, like we're dying.
Yeah.
So you have to have people helping you. Push it. So
for sure. So I just want to touch base on, before we ask the next question, 2 things that Jesse said of like, and I was thinking about this the other day of like, how many times can you fail and then keep trying? And like all of the people that are winning have just like failed a lot.
So much.
Dude.
And then when they learn from those, nobody's more mad about that failure than actually themselves. And that's why they're like, bro, it's ingrained in their mind. They'll never do it again. The same thing when I failed on something and then I'm like, bro, I'll never do that again.
You don't know until you try it.
Exactly. No. And it's like, there is no, the perfection does not exist in the business world. And the only thing that's sustainable is real, authentic human connection. Like, especially in this technology world, right? Like the human connection internally with your squad is the synergy.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And that's why you and our closest friends who transact with us, the way that you guys treat our team and that the way that they love you guys too, like, bro, that is a dream come true for me. My team sees you guys and you got like everyone's hugging them. Like there's so much mutual respect. And to think about where we all started.
Oh yeah.
To now, it just, bro, it's absolutely
at that point where you send an email. You know how like when you do enough deals together where it's like Kate CC'd on it, it's like love y'all, love y'all,
exactly,
and then it's your like your signature West
Yeah.
signature. Then like that's the coolest part of the business because you get to work with people that you love to be around.
Amen. And then there's another thing that Jesse said in this is a common trend, dude. Every person we've ever interviewed, and I've known this about Jesse's dad. I didn't know everything about the story that Jesse told, which really hit me, bro. But every person we've ever interviewed, and I feel like if you like look at every successful person, maybe there's somebody we don't know about that just like figured it out on their own. But there's a father figure, a coach, an uncle, somebody who was their biggest fan. Jesse's dad was his biggest fan. Like this all makes sense, bro. Like as I'm sitting here and you're talking about your dad and telling the story, and I knew how close you were with your dad and how big of like an impact he had on you. But like I've had some, as you know, different business stuff and stuff I'm doing right now.
Oh yeah.
And I call my dad still, and like he literally, I was getting emotional talking to Carol the other night. I call my dad about this, that 5 years ago would scare the shit out of him and my mom. And the first thing he says is, do it. I believe in you. It's always worked.
Yeah.
It's always worked. Just do it. Chase your dream. Do it. Time short. Go. Chase your dream. I believe in you. Go. And like I told Carol the other night, I'm like, wow, think about that. Like, and we're a father. I'm a father. You're a father. You're going to be a father one day. Right. But like believing in your kids, what could become of that?
Yeah, for sure.
Could they make an impact like Jesse Cronen one day? You believe in your son? And bro, how many families have you helped? You said 600 families last year. What's the biggest families, the most amount of families you've helped in 1 year?
929.
929. Bro, this ripple effect.
I know.
Is insane. Well, all because your dad believed in you, bro.
Oh,
and was your number one fan.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm sure your parents, I'm sure both your parents, you know, said something along these lines. But my old man used to say this to me all the time. I can remember this when I was 10 years old. But literally, he said, "You can do anything you put your mind to." And one of the first goals in the mortgage world that I ever did, my dad had been at this point passed away for about 9 years. But I looked at my first true banking boss. His name was John Bowman. Love him. He's still alive. But I literally looked at John Bowman and I said, I want to be the top lender in Kentucky. Not just the top individual, but the bank, right? Mm-hmm. And at the time, there was a place called Century Mortgage. Nobody was even close. It was first place and everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. And he looked at me. He was like, "God, Century." And I said, "Yeah, John." I was like, we gotta have goals. And we surpassed them in 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And again in 26, who's number one? Mm-hmm. We are, mm-hmm. right? North Point Bank, previous to that Commonwealth Bank. But my old man, literally, I mean, I can hear right now, like, you can do anything you put your mind to.
Yeah.
And same thing, like literally, like the mind is such a strong thing. And you go back to our parents, like your kids, you're gonna be the same way. Yeah. I tell Caroline Cronen all the time, like that chick wanted to run in college. Bro, when she was a junior and a senior in high school, this chick didn't even qualify for the state meet. You want to run in college? Yeah. But I'm like, buddy, you work your butt. You put in the time. I believe in you. You believe in yourself. That chick just literally 8th place in the indoor national championships a month ago.
In college.
Just now.
Where's she running at?
She runs the University of Cumberland's in Kentucky. 8th place.
I've been to Lake Cumberland.
Yeah, it's right. It's right by there.
That's awesome.
But my point is like,
that's
if
insane.
we believe in them like they believe in us, they can do anything they want. You know,
it's insane.
And you got some dogs. I saw them when they're shooting basketball.
Yeah. Man,
I love those little boys.
Yeah.
Oh, they're great, man.
And it's funny. So like my brother, like we had Zach on the podcast and
Uncle Z.
It had me reminiscent on our childhood and what we put our parents through, bro. Like because I didn't really know what we were going to talk about too much or whatnot, but like, it's just really crazy. Like thinking about just us being 2 dogs playing in the front yard sports.
Oh yeah.
But because they believed in us and now this journey that we're on together later in life, we get to give this to our kids. And like, you know, it's a lot of things my dad taught us. One of them is nothing good happens after midnight.
That's a fact.
That was my
right too.
Why is my curfew midnight? Because nothing good happens after midnight. Yes.
But man, like
cool.
Keegan Aiken, MLB pitcher, his dad, his pitching coach from when he was a kid, like all the people that have been on Kyle Clough, right? Coach Clough, who just won state championship.
I know. That's crazy.
Talks about his dad. Like, it's just this common theme. And so, if you're a parent that's listening to this, like, what a gift, what an honor that we get to have the greatest job in the world to, like, mold somebody to believe in themselves, to think how we're thinking one day, to go change the world, change, bro. In the world,
go
it's
change
insane.
the world.
But be present, listen to them, get off your phone.
Yep.
Because today's technology or today's society is right here.
100%.
Get outside with them. Go out and shoot hoops.
Yep.
And we're all guilty of occasionally being tired and but like spend that time with them because they're all young ones.
Yep.
So
all right. So before we wrap today's episode up, we got to ask another couple business questions to utilize Jesse's mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
My other big question I had. You got one or
no? You go.
Big question was when you were scaling, right, and your revenue was continuing to increase, but your profits weren't. Like, how would you handle that? Like, did you just know it was going to be okay?
Dude, I was the last one paid for a long time.
Yeah.
So when we
I
opened
love this question because I know this dude, and that's why when you told me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, bro, but this is so good.
When we opened up our first branch, the 5 of us, lawsuit, the original agreement, going back, was literally you close your loans, everybody brings in their money. This is back in the day. It wasn't like today where you close $1 million, you close up 200,000, you close up 500,000, you get bips, right? It's a flat. This was like fees, right? And the rule was bring it all in, split the bills up 5 ways. You keep, like Jesse, if I brought in 40 grand and the bills, my portion of bills were 5, I got 35. Well, guess what? That never worked because, this guy might have a decent month, 1 month, and then he might have a decent month. But like what happened was it really wasn't, and we opened our first branch in 2006. It really wasn't until about 2014 that I got paid. And I mean, I had a paycheck.
Sure. Yeah.
But like, I was closing, even as like long ago as like 2010, 11, I was closing 50 to 70 million and not getting paid what a $25 million producer was getting paid. But what I was doing was I believed in what we were building.
Yeah.
And literally what it took was John Bowman, my boss at Commonwealth Bank, looking at me and going, you've got to pay yourself. Maybe not like a loan officer gets paid 100%, but like you got to get paid closer because you're putting in too much work. And what it truly did was, I mean, I was already hustling and grinding, but it put a carrot out there that I could finally reach for. As opposed to being like, yeah, I grind and I'm doing my thing, but like I'm getting paid last.
Yeah.
Then it was like, okay. So like I could actually feel it. So back to your point, like it may take while you're building, literally being the last one to eat.
Yeah.
But if you believe in what you're building, I mean, I'm 45. I've been doing this for 20. This is my 22nd year. We've built something pretty good, right? And now at this point in my career, like I'm able to be in a position where, we've got properties and we've got, a beach house and lake house and all these things. And, we're building for our legacy for our kids. Like you talk about the opening of the podcast. And that's literally because of the sacrifice that I made for the first 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
that's cool to hear.
You put in that sacrifice and then long-term, dude, like it's just, it's to the moon. Yeah.
Bro. So that's awesome. Faith and belief in the unknown. Right?
Yeah, we talk about that.
And like that knowing you're building something, there's like, hey, here's the return right now. Here's our stats right now. But if we build this, what could we become?
Yeah.
Right. And like, I feel like every business entrepreneur goes through that journey as you're building out your team, you're foreseeing where you could take something, right? If you have a cohesive team, you get out there more, build up your business. And it's that unknown, it's that belief that you had in the beginning of your career. And I know you, and I know that it was going to be big, but also like, is it bigger than even what you thought?
Oh, I never dreamt in a million years. When I clipped 100 million for the first time, which was 2015, I did like 105 million. And I was like, I'll never feel this again. And then, so flash forward 2016, I did 135. And then I was like, that's the best it'll ever be, right?
Yeah.
And then there was a pullback. There was a pullback. 17, you know, the market, it was, you know, refis and then rates went up. And I did like 90. And I was like, if I ever hit 135 again, it'll be the craziest day. And then, you know, I got back over 100. And then I did 203 or 216, I should say, in 20. And then, so to say that I'd hit 200 million twice, no, I never in my wildest dreams did I think that. And now it's like, you know, Mace knows this about me. You know, corny saying, do you know how you eat an elephant? Do you know how to eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. He knows, he's heard me say it. So you have to set goals. And so now on my whiteboard at the office, I've got one thing written on the whiteboard as far as a number. And it's a number I'll get to in a second, but you've got your annual goal. So like if you want to close, you know, let's say it's 50 million in real estate, right? Well, that's your annual goal. And then you got to take that in, you got to divide it into 12 because that's something you can feel. So 4.167 million, right? Whatever that is, 4.183 million. So then you break it into your weekly goal.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking about $1 million a week. Well, that's attainable. It's what nowadays it's like a house and a half. And then you have your daily goal, and your daily goal is a little harder to look at and quantify because what are you going to close 200,000 a day? No, but it's something that you can shoot for. So 673,500 a day is what I've got to bring in loans to then hit what my annual goal is, which Bill Willoughby and Chad and Tyler bust my chops a little bit because they say that I sandbag my goal a little bit because my goal is 185 because if I go above 185, it's gravy. Yeah. And if I'm at 184, I'm a loser in my mind. But no. And you said something a minute ago. I wanted to hit back on what you just said a second ago. You invest in your people, which is why you talked about how good Kate is and about how Kate's a dog. Yeah. Kate's a dog. Yeah. But Mace invests in his people just like I do. And if you pour into your people, even though it comes out of your pocket, you're going to succeed because those people are going to help you. They're going to be pushing you from the back, doing what you're supposed to do. And it's the people that'll take less pay to make sure these people are winning long term. It's going to pay off.
So good, man. I love this. Was great. So good. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Jesse, I learn a lot from you daily. Yeah, I learned a lot from you here tonight, bro. This meant a lot to me to have you here from Kentucky on the podcast with us. It's amazing.
I got one more question.
Yes.
Yeah. I got one more question.
Yes. I love it. Yeah.
I know time.
No, we're good.
We don't get asked
questions. Come on.
Jenkins busts me about I go too long. Like some of our podcasts have been 3 hours, and he's like, "Bro, it's got to stay at an hour." I get it, Tom. We got to get it. But a couple of questions. Michigan State. Are y'all going to bring Mel Tucker back?
Come on, bro. We're not going there.
I heard this today.
We're not going there. No.
My man Gavin told me. No. My man Gavin told me that.
He doesn't understand sports like that. If there was any dialogue on that.
My man Gavin told me today the sports book has Michigan State at 3 wins over under for football this year. Come on.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
You know.
I like Pat Fitzgerald.
I do too.
I do too.
I think he's got. I think he runs a good system. I think he's a good recruiter.
Leader.
I think he's a dog, but he said that Vegas has Michigan State at 3 wins.
Well, Vegas usually knows, and I hope they're wrong.
I hope they're wrong too. I hope they're wrong too, because I mean, when he said that, I was a little heartbroken.
No.
Do you miss Pitino era?
Oh, buddy, let me tell you something.
Dude.
And every Kentucky fan that's listening right now, which there's probably at least 100,000, right? Listening.
Yeah.
Every single one of them would have brought Pitino back when Pope came. And I love Mark Pope.
Yeah,
I'm not one of those haters. I grew up in the 90s.
Yeah.
Dude, my first ever Kentucky basketball game was the last game Pitino's first year. They literally won the game on senior night to go 14-14. It's like 1989. I was like 8 years old. Dude, I love Pitino. Even when he went to Louisville, dude, I'd bring him back in a second.
When I watched St. John's play this year, I don't know if you guys watched them a lot in the tournament as a 5 seed. They are like in your grill.
Oh,
like dude, like
it's talk about
yes, the level of intensity and just what he brings. There was also a clip too, and I don't know if you can find this. But it's when,
bro, if you can find after the game,
it's a halftime.
Oh, it is.
Then he's talking to his players, and he's like, "Do you know what adversity is all about?"
You're like children with bad things happening. Instead of digging in and be tougher, you wilt. Where is your toughness? Where have you guys been raised that you're so weak mentally that you just give up when something doesn't go right for you? Don't you know what adversity is all about? That's the game of life.
But listen, that's fire. When you know a coach is a dog, not this year, last year. Would they lose in the semis or the quarters? Would they lose in? They had a good run.
Yeah, they had a good team.
Their best player, he benched him the last 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, he didn't care.
He literally was like, "No, bro." He's like, if you can't like pull your shorts up or whatever the saying is, he's like, get on the bench.
Yeah.
Dude's a dog.
Different.
Yeah. And he's 74 years old.
Yeah.
Like
he'll still sit you on the pine for
you
sure.
talk about old dogs still having fire. Like you got fire. How you got fired 45? Dude, if I got fired like that at 73.
Yeah.
Dude, that,
Intense.
If he's getting a bunch of boys between the age of 18 and 25 juiced.
In the NIL era.
Yes.
Bro, I played for him in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
A heartbeat.
Yeah.
But these kids now, all they're looking for is a check.
Well, here's the thing. Like, when I was at Western, my senior year was like the first year of NIL, and it like wasn't really even a thing. It is crazy.
Yeah. Dude, the portal's open right now. And literally these kids, it's like they're on their 5th school in 5 years. Who's getting the check, who's not. And I'm not about this whole like, oh, we're gonna tell them they need to fix something.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that the one-time transfer works, because if a coach can leave as many times he wants, why are we gonna tell the kid? But it's broken.
There's a lot of gray.
It's broken.
Yeah, there's a lot of gray area.
What I like about it though is like, as you've seen this in the sports world, the Big Ten has a chance. Like, dude, they just won the college football. They have a chance now because
Indiana football.
Yeah, exactly. Because people would have never came to the Midwest or a Big Ten school to play. They're going down south. And let's just be real, the SEC's been paying players for years as it is. So now that everybody can, now that everybody can, it's an equal playing field.
And we can rap whatever y'all want. Yeah. I do have one more thing about that, but I did want to say this, and I know y'all are Michigan State fans, but dude, Michigan was fire this year.
They had a heck of a team.
They had a hell of a team.
Talk about paying players. My freshman year at UK. So Hal Mumme was the head coach. I played football at Kentucky. Hal Mumme was the head coach, and we literally, the NCAA shows up, and they're investigating. Like literally, like Mumme gets fired, and the NCAA comes there asking questions, because this is how bad back then Kentucky was at losing, right? We had a guy named Claude Bassett, our recruiting coordinator, and I hope he can find this image because he looked just like Fat Bastard from help me out. Austin Powers. He looks, get a side by side for me on that thing. Okay? Claude Bassett, Fat Bastard. This man literally was so bad at cheating. He Western Union 2 dudes from Memphis. They called them the Memphis Boys. He Western Union them $800 to come to UK. That's how bad we were at losing. So we go on, probation or whatever. When the NCAA is there, they're like sitting everybody down. They're like, did you get any unfair, benefits from Kentucky? And I was like, when I came on one of my unofficial visits, they gave me gloves because it was cold outside. They're like, son, get out of here. You're a nobody. But my point is, it's how it's changed from the 90s to today.
I'll say too, I think a really cool interview Dusty May was talking about, he's like, it's almost easier nowadays. We're not recruiting as people as much as players are recruiting us.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a total flip 180 of what it's always used to be. Yeah. So it's like, okay, like everyone's got money to spend, got donors throwing tons of money here and there. Like kids now are more so picking where they want to go. Not that it's always been that way, but they're recruiting the coaches.
Oh, yeah.
The players way more than they ever used to be.
Winning attracts winning.
Yeah,
let's just be real. And what I like for the kids is that it's like, if you can get paid and go win, like if you're just gonna get paid, like, and I get it, like if it's just going to get paid, but like the best players that want to win to go play for that coach, and the universities that make it fair too. Like you're not gonna see Michigan State paying players like crazy, but you get to be winning culture, play for Izzo, and still get some NIL benefit compared to in the past. Izzo's not gonna do any of that stuff.
Maybe I'm like, I don't know if I should say this on the podcast, but it's like, I'm kind of an NIL hater. Like, I think if you're going to get paid, there's so many pro leagues out there that you can go and play at nowadays. You have like OTE, you've got all these different leagues. Yeah. Like the one problem I had with college sports like 5 or 10 years ago is if Coach Cal's bringing a dude in from Washington to come play at Kentucky, 5-star, they can pay for his school, pay for his books, pay for his room and board. But if his family has no money and he can't fly home for Christmas, Like that, like
well, that's broken.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm a proponent of NIL because of that reason. I literally had buddies who couldn't go home at Christmas.
Yeah. So I think like if the school could like buy them a North Face jacket and pay for their plane ticket home, like I don't know if you need to be giving these kids millions of dollars because you can do it in so many different leagues.
Right.
Well, and to your point, it could be, and I hate to say this way because I'm not a, it's equal, you know, we don't live in a world, it's not everything's equal, right?
Yeah.
But the NCAA, as much money as they make, they could easily go in and say, okay, every kid that gets a D1 scholarship gets 60 or 100 grand, something like living wages.
Yeah, sure.
That's not millions, but like they were living, a lot of kids were living in poverty. Yeah. It was full on like, yeah, you get your meals, but to your point though, getting a kid, what did the number one player just?
It's got like $5 million,
$5.5 million
for a year.
And the crazy thing is, there is such little help with those kids on what they should actually do with the money.
Amen.
Yeah. And so that may be a kid that maybe has a good couple of good years, maybe washed out in the NBA. So if lifetime he makes $12 million, which is a lot of money. But after taxes and he's buying a house for his mom and a house for his dad and a car for his cousins, he's 23 years old. And I've seen this, by the way. Like I've literally seen this firsthand doing loans for people. He's 23, 4, 5 years old and he has no money. And a kid that's washed out of the league, unless he went to school, he doesn't have a way to make money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, it's wild. But I know we got to wrap. I don't mean to hijack. You know
Dog,
I'm talking.
This
like,
has
I
been
love it.
so good.
I think it's a great conversation.
And the sports side of the business world, it connects us. Guys, we could talk about this for hours because everything we do all day all stems from at one point us just being athletes playing
being competitive,
too,
trying to win,
100%,
trying to win.
And that's what a lot of the good feedback we've had from the podcast too, right? Is people who are like-minded, who have walked through different journeys. There's going to be some young, like we're super excited. Got a couple weeks, got some exciting stuff going on with some of the younger generation, right? And then, a lot of the lessons that the older generation that we can, pass along to people to help them on their journey. It's been super special. So,
listen, fellas, I appreciate it. If you're listening to this, it's been fun. Check out the Funding Fathers. We're on Spotify, YouTube. We actually next week, I'm so excited. Tuesday, we are interviewing Coach K, not Coach K from Duke. Coach K from the Girls Galaxy Basketball, which is what CP's daughter and my girls are doing. It is a nonprofit, free,
that's awesome.
All women coaches, former players of Coach K, and we're interviewing her next week because she's got an awesome story. So you'll have to check it out.
Love it.
That's great.
Love it. Yeah, you heard it here. Funding Fathers on Spotify. And if you liked it, if you liked the episode, tap in with us, share this, send it to a friend. We're on all social media platforms. Subscribe. We appreciate you tuning in.
Your second season starts now.